Wonder.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Señora Vibes Podcast. I am your host, Alicia, and today I'm so excited because we're officially kicking off our brand new limited series in my No Me Vengas con Mamadas era. If anybody knows what that means, for me, it's like, don't come with your BS anymore. I am too old for that. I'm going to be 50 this year. So I'm definitely not putting up with crap anymore. I am like setting intentions. I am saying no to so many things. And I'm telling people, don't come with your mamadas. Like, don't come with your bullshit for me. I don't want to hear it. So this is the series. It's about that. It's being unapologetic. It's being bold. There's no excuses. And now it's about empowering each other. It's about collaboration. And Nikki is my co-host because we're collaborating, especially women 40 plus. I think one thing we are definitely pushing this year is collabs and support and elevation, right?
Community,
Yep. Nikki, tell us about yourself.
Well, I'm Nikki. Well, I'm Nicole López, co-host. I'm co-hosting with Alicia from Señora Vibes. I am the owner of Revive in the Heights and the founder of Hair and Beauty by Nikki L. I'm so proud to be here with you today. I'm so excited for our guests to be here today.
Me too.
I'm excited about this powerful 6 series episode that we're going to be doing, and I can't wait to dive in. We have some really great guests coming up.
I know. I'm really looking forward to it. Like, I was reading the bios for our ladies today. Wow. And just like getting to know you guys. I remember when I met Melissa, I sat down next to her and I just felt like, okay, I could talk to her about anything. Like, I just felt that way.
Yeah, we just hit it off right away for sure.
Not like that because I tend to be a little like quieter, more reserved. But like we hit it off like immediately, right, Melissa?
Yes. Got the same vibes, same
same
energy, just,
I didn't even know y'all didn't know each other.
We're both girls, right?
I didn't even know y'all didn't know each other because when I came into the event, y'all were chatting. I'm like, oh, you know her.
No, when I told her, I said, oh, you're another person that comes early to events. I'm very early all the time, so I'm always there by myself. She's like, oh, yeah, I've been sitting here for a while. I'm like, okay, good, because I'm an early person too. And I think that's how we connected initially, right? Melissa? Tell us a little bit about you, Melissa.
So my name is Melissa Garza, and I am the owner of the Skin Retreat here inside Revive. And we are a medically directed corrective skincare studio. So my mission is to help women to feel their best, and I always say when you look good, you feel good, doing something for yourself, no matter what it is, whether it has to do with your looks or anything, just that act of doing something for yourself is an act of self-love. It brings confidence, making you feel like you are worth every ounce of effort that you put towards yourself. So you can put your best face forward out into the world. When you take care of yourself, you can pour into others.
I agree. You got to fill that water cup so that you can fill other people's water cups.
Absolutely.
Too.
And who's sitting beside you today?
I'm Gina Bennett, and I'm Melissa's mom.
Yes.
Well, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so glad that you're here because we are doing a little bit like a Mother's Day thing today.
Yes, we're coming up on Mother's Day.
Yeah. And this is actually the second Mother's Day. Second Mother's Day that I celebrate without my mom because I lost her in 2023. And so,
great to hear that.
Thank you. And it was really the first time around because we used to take her, all her kids used to take her out for Mother's Day on May 10th because she's Mexican. So it was el Día de las Madres in Mexico. And so this was like the first time, that was the first time that we didn't have that with her because every year we did that for her. She loved it when her kids took her out. So, but I celebrate my mother-in-law, which is nice. And she's the most loveliest lady in the world. And so she's been my mother-in-law for 25 years. And if anything, I'm super grateful to have her in my life, especially now that my mom's not here. She kind of like jumps in and just takes care of me too. So that's very sweet.
Absolutely.
I love that. And you guys seem to have a really sweet, beautiful relationship too.
We do. We have a really good relationship.
Has it always been that way or was it rough like the teenage years?
We definitely had our moments in the teenage years. Nothing major. She has a short memory because every time we talk about my teenage years, she's like, no, you were great. Like, you were so good. You were such a good kid. I'm like,
she was a good
I'm glad she doesn't remember.
She's a good teenager. Yeah. She's great up until today. I mean, I've had Melissa. She's almost perfect.
Are you the first?
Well,
Is she the
all
first
night.
born?
You know this is being recorded, right?
Yeah, she's the perfect child.
We officially
She
have it
slept
recorded.
all night. But when she was little, she talked a lot, and we had to play the quiet games.
Oh, yeah.
Let's cut it for a little.
Yes. Always in the car. Okay.
Melissa, are you a Gemini?
No, I'm
Oh,
a Pisces.
Oh, a
and
Pisces.
I'm not
Aw,
your
those
typical Pisces.
Sensitive little fish.
I am very sensitive.
Yeah, that's my little
But I think sensitive people tend to overcorrect sometimes and become a little hard-hearted, to protect yourself. It's a defense mechanism. So I have definitely overcorrected over the years because, my kids will tell me, some people in my life will tell me, you have no feelings. You're just like so cold. And I'm like, I'm not cold. I'm a serious person. And, and I don't know, I think it's conditioning more than like a natural state of being for me to kind of control my feelings and not feel too much like a typical Pisces.
Yeah.
And I'm a double water sign. I'm a Cancer moon, so I should be very sensitive, but I'm
Surprised
not.
you're not crying all the time.
No, my husband's the only one that gets the brunt of all that. Water
I was just
sign.
gonna say my husband's the only one that does the crying.
Right?
No.
I mean, it could happen. Why not, right?
Yeah.
No, my mom was a Cancer too, and we always said, okay, what's the moon? Like, what is the moon? Well, we need to figure out what the moon is doing these days because we have to keep an eye on her because she's very moody. She's very moody, but very nurturing too. Like Cancer women are so nurturing. They're like the moms of the zodiac. Like they take care of everybody. They make sure everybody's doing good. Like nurtures. Wow. I love that.
My son's a Cancer. He's very sweet. I mean, he's just
they're sweet,
but he's very moody.
Yep.
He's very sweet, but he's very moody. Yeah.
Well, thank you for being
seen that.
here. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank
We are
you.
so excited to have you because we're doing a very special series. So all of you out there in the audience, go grab your cafecito, go grab your, glass of champagne if that's what you do, your mimosa, your glass of wine, no judgment zone. You can do that too. I'm all about the early drinking too. So
It's 5 o'clock.
Little day drinking never hurt.
Thank you so much. So yeah, I think for us, right, Nicole, I think we were thinking about doing something really cool, very different, and like when you and I met, I think it was like an immediate connection too.
Absolutely.
Kind of like what I was talking to Melissa about. So let's talk a little bit how you and I met.
So I met you at the Houston Hotties networking event, and we kind of just gravitated to each other. And I think possibly because we are older, right? There's a lot of young girls at those events, and we're more mature, so we kind of gravitated. And what was our first thing that we did together? I don't even remember.
No, it was the podcast. You came in and talked.
That's
to
right.
The
That was the first time I met you.
Yeah, that was the first
So
time.
I was on her podcast with Nicole and Dove, and I got to talk a little bit. It was my first podcast. And Kayla.
Was that the first one?
It was my very, very first podcast.
And now the girls are doing podcasts left and right. They're doing speaking engagements everywhere.
Yes.
Oh,
the
yeah.
girls are doing podcasts.
Nicole
I just got
is
invited.
doing incredible things too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just got invited to do a podcast on Thursday the 8th with David from That Damn Mexican. And then you and I collaborated to do this.
I love that.
I can't see where else we're going to do. What else I'm going to do. Yeah.
No, I mean, the world is opening up. And we just have to grab it by the horns.
Yep.
I think so. I mean, I think that's the reason why I started the podcast, because I really wanted us to have like a platform to talk about the things that were important to us. There's just so many podcasts out there, but I think if we have our own voice and we have our own things to say and share, one of the goals for me was to share young women and business women and women who are doing like side gigs or who are creatives, who have their own, businesses or whatever they're doing, creative projects, fashion shows. I just wanted them to have like a platform for them to talk about it. Yeah, because it's not easy. It's not easy to tell people about yourself.
No, I think in this day and age, there's so much online connection, but not as much in-person connection. So these kind of events like the fashion show and, sharing ourselves on podcasts and things like that. It's, a way to connect that we haven't really
Well, we kind of forgot about it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because of COVID.
Absolutely.
And
Oh,
everybody's,
yes. That made a
wanting
big
to
difference.
Shelter in place and not talk in person. Or they're on their phones like this all the time.
Yeah, no, IRL, right?
Yeah.
In real life, like
Right.
we need to go into
Yeah.
real life. I always tell people who ask me about like relationship advice, it's like you got to meet people in person. I don't know. I mean, apps, I guess. I mean, I met my husband when there were no apps. We barely had cell phones. So I wouldn't know what that's like now. Like, how do you go into and like, I don't know. But I always say, like, meet people in real life because then you get an energy.
Right.
You get chemistry.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, I'm old school.
Yeah.
You know, you
Me too.
call people on the phone.
Yeah.
You and the reason I do texting is because I know, like, if I'm texting Nicole, I know she's a very busy lady, so I will send her a text. But to me, it's in person. But that's the way of the world today. It's fast and it's quick, and you get your answers right away. And
Yeah.
Sometimes.
and another thing, sometimes, yes.
Or you
I'm
get ignored.
horrible about returning text messages.
And another thing I still love to do is write a letter, send a card, send a piece of mail. I think it's so
Yeah. Something
sweet
handwritten
to
and-
get something in the mail from someone that took the time to write you a little note. They're thinking about you and they put some effort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I still love all that. And
It goes a long way. And I think the youngsters, you know, don't understand that because they didn't have it initially, so they don't know what they're missing out on. That personal touch, having
Right.
somebody actually sit down and write a note, or like even thank you notes after like gifts, like a
Yes.
birthday, and somebody sent like, wow, somebody sent a
That's
thank you
sweet.
note. That's very
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah.
I love that. So yeah, I don't think that's just. I think also a way for us to really touch people when somebody's probably not having a good day. A note really goes a long
never
way.
know.
A
It's going to
text don't
hit
have-
them right at the
texts
right
don't have the
time.
same-
You know, you don't know what
Exactly.
Right.
what kind of day they're having. They get a
Exactly.
note in the mail. And yes, even a little text, you know, is nice too. But I like
It's
sending
not the
cards.
same.
My mom even takes it a step further and
Okay.
she watercolors the note card that she sent. Because you know, I mean,
Wow.
she introduced herself as my mom, but she's an artist. She's in her
So
own
that's
right.
what I was
She's
gonna
got a lot
say.
of
So
other
let's talk
things.
about your mom because
Yeah.
you guys are both creatives, but you're more of an artsy creative and you're more in the beauty industry. How does that, like, how did you feed off of her energy, or how did that help you create or be creative?
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
you guys are so
I've
different.
seen her since I was a kid. My mom has always had a side hustle. She's always, you know, worked, and then she was either making crafts or making jewelry or painting. She sewed my clothes. Like she would make little sets, you know, with the slip pin and the, you know, the
Oh my
shorts that
gosh.
matched.
I remember that.
Yeah, she would do all those things. I mean, she's always been so creative. So I emulated that. I would make these little, I remember I made glue out of flour and water. I probably had glue, but I don't know, just knowing my, you know,
I can
feeding off
make
of
it.
her energy. I can make anything. So I made glue out of flour and water, cut construction paper and made little
Paper mache?
frames. No, I made little picture frames.
my God.
And I was going to my neighbors and selling them. And I mean, you know,
I taught her
trash
well.
basically. But yeah, I was hustling because that's what I saw my mom do. And I was always, you know, making things. And I always had an entrepreneur mind because of that.
Yeah.
And
What
I'm
a good
not
example.
creative in the, well, I don't feel that I am creative in the artsy space, but when we had a bakery, I did discover I had a
She
talent for
Had a
sculpting.
talent for sculpting. She did the fondant sculptures
Oh,
for the cakes, and she did very
I
good.
shocked the hell out of myself because I was like, I made that.
Yes, she
But
did. Well.
I have more of like I love marketing. I love creating, you know, posts, and more than loving I do love what I do in skincare, but more than that, I love being an entrepreneur and just always having ideas and, you know, putting those things out there. And I love to help everybody do that with their businesses too. Like I'm
Yeah.
always giving these girls ideas too, and then they give me ideas as well. But it's just, you know, we're both creatives, but in different ways, like you said.
Well, Gina, tell us a little bit about your story. Like, were you an entrepreneur? And tell us about that part.
Okay, well, yes. Like Melissa said, I've always had a side hustle.
Where did that come from?
When, you know, I think it came from my dad because my dad was very creative. My dad could sew.
Really?
He could cook. He could do yard work. My dad could do anything. He could paint. My dad, there wasn't anything he couldn't do. So I kind of got that attitude from him. Like, how do you know what you can do until you try it? So, you know, and I hear a lot of people, oh, I could never do that. No, you can.
Yeah.
You've never tried.
Right.
But when my son was born, I wanted to stay home. I made wreaths. I made Christmas wreaths out of pine cones, decorated them with ribbon and glitter, and just made them very pretty. I had craft shows before these pop-up markets started happening. I would have craft shows in my home. My friends each got a room for whatever it is they were selling. Some of them were selling spices, some of them marinades, some of them
Tupperware.
Tupperware, but mine were homemade.
Okay.
Mine were handmade crafts. And
You're the original Etsy.
yeah.
Yes.
And so I did that for Grant's first 5 years, and when he started school, I mean, I'm not afraid of the corporate world either. I went into the corporate world and I worked
Well, you went back to
years.
school too.
I did go
When
back
he went
to
to
school.
school.
Yes.
Or while he was
just
while
staying
you were
home
too.
with him, with the baby, can be tedious and, you know, the monotonous. And so I went back to school and I studied to be a paralegal. And so when he graduated pre-K, I graduated from San Jac.
Wow.
Yes, and we both had our ceremonies that year. He went on to kindergarten. I went on to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, that's
And then when did you
interesting.
come in the
Yeah,
picture?
Very interesting.
As far as what?
After your brother.
No, he's
Melissa's
10 years younger than me.
older. Yeah.
Yeah, so
My
she
children
did all
are
that.
10 years apart.
Yeah. But,
Yes.
you know, yeah, she hustled since I was, you know, little. But I think a lot of that will, you know, seeing my grandpa be able to do so many things, but also just being a young mother and, you know, just having that hustle and that drive and ambition. And she's just always,
I didn't think she was watching.
Of
I was
course.
watching.
I mean, but
No, kids are
that's
watching all the
synopsis.
time.
Do you feel like that's synopsis or like it's a cultural thing too? Because I feel like my mom was the same way. How about you?
Yeah, for sure. And I still have a lot of her traits that I didn't think I was capturing from my mom. And I'm totally like her in so many ways. And I always say that my mom was a stay-at-home mom, and she had side gigs too that she used to do. But I always say she created two workaholic girls from being a stay-at-home wife, because my mom used to just be like, you were always productive all day long.
Yes.
You didn't take breaks. She
Your
didn't
children
believe in
are
that.
either going to do what you do, or they're going to say, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to stay home. I'm going to go do that out there in the corporate world. And then they find their niche.
They find their niche, yeah.
And they go with it, you know?
well, I saw her do it all. I mean, she stayed home for a little bit. She worked in the corporate world. She had her side gigs. I mean, she's for
I
me.
can't sit still.
No,
I cannot sit
for
still.
me, like she saw her dad, you know, there's nothing he couldn't do. Well, that's my mom. Like there's nothing, I always say, I'm like, yeah, my mom can do anything. Like she does everything.
She literally can.
Yeah.
Did your dad, was he an influence for you as you were growing
yes.
up?
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
most definitely.
Did he believe that girls and women could do whatever
Oh,
boys
yes.
could do? You know, because the
My dad-
generation
Hispanics-
before,
For sure.
Yeah.
Had to go and really prove themselves. They had to work hard and
Yeah.
could. If they just got out there and did it.
and in what ways do you still carry that legacy of your father? I mean, besides the gigs and the entrepreneurial spirit and the creativeness, like what else, what value do you feel like you really carry that's his?
Well, my dad was very kind. I try to be a kind person. I know that I'm a giver. I'm a pleaser. That was my dad. My dad was very, very big-hearted person and very hardworking. Very hardworking.
I think that my parents are the same way too. I think that's a cultural thing as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
In the Latin community. They're just so loving and giving and always wanting to give back to their kids.
Right.
I feel like they do everything for their kids. It seems like
course.
every single decision that they make,
It
for
is.
the kids
And now the
family.
grandkids,
Was.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And now the grandkids. That's right.
And how many grandkids do you have?
A total of 9.
9.
Yes.
9 grandbabies.
From 29 to 19. Joshua?
Joshua's 19.
Oh,
Or he'll be 19 in
Aaron
July.
is 18. From 29 to 18.
Wow.
Why was there such a big gap between the kids? You said there was a 10-year gap between.
I was a very young mother. Melissa and I have pretty much grown together. We have grown up together.
Yeah.
We're only 17 years apart. So I had Melissa when I was 17, and that young, you know, you don't know a lot. And you're ready to throw the towel in, throw it in, you know, and move on. And that's what I did. And for those 10 years, I did not know if I was ready to have another child. Am I gonna, you know, I needed to find a husband first and then have another child. And it just took time because I had plenty with Melissa to concentrate on her. And then when the time was right,
I talk too much.
then when the time was right, you know, we had Grant, and I have 2 bonus sons, William and Russell.
Okay.
So between the 4 kids, Grant still doesn't have any children, so I could have more grandchildren.
Oh, okay.
You probably have great grandkids before
I have another grandchild. Yes, I think so.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Because my oldest is 25. She doesn't want to have kids, or at least not for a long time. But my 22-year-old, she's ready to get married and have kids today.
Very nurturing. She loves children.
See,
Loves
that's
babies.
interesting because most kids I talk to, they don't even, like, some of them don't even want to have weddings or, like, marriages or anything. They just want to live together.
Yeah. It's a very different
It's very different.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were talking about, you said something about how, as in our culture, it's just always like you don't stop. You're always moving, working.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about to kind of bring it back, thinking about the newer generation. I feel like I've taken a little bit from this newer generation about being boundaried and taking time to rest.
Yeah.
I definitely,
They're good at that.
yeah, they are. They are. But
They're
you know,
experts.
with balance, I think it's a good thing. You know, I feel like I do, and maybe not in my younger years when my kids were younger, but I do take time to rest and recharge myself because it's so important. I mean, like I was saying, I preach. That is one thing I definitely practice what I preach. When I tell my clients, you can't pour from an empty cup. I literally cannot. So I have to stop and rest, you know, and I don't have any guilt about that either.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love that you said that because even like now, my sister and I are taking care of my dad who's in the hospital. He's been in the hospital for a while. I keep telling her and I keep reminding her, hey, have you like just, you know, gone and just had breakfast by yourself? Or like we remind each other that we need to take time for ourselves
So
too.
important.
And it's like you, like I have to walk the walk. If I say, you know, go take care of yourself and self-care, I have to do it too so that she can see that I'm doing it for myself too. And she was going to be out of town and nobody was going to take care of my dad. I said, I got this. Go and go out of town. Your boss needs you. You want to spend some time with your husband to just get away from this because it could be overwhelming, right?
Yes.
And then she'll reconnect with me. She's like, okay, now it's, you know, your turn. So we'll take turns, but I'm like super lucky that we have that, you know, in my family. My siblings are very close, but not a lot of people have that. And I think that is just like the legacy of my mom and my dad. Like their legacy, at the end of the day, my mom's legacy was to make sure that the kids always got along. We always knew to jump in for each other.
That's
that if
awesome.
Somebody, and never guilt
important.
anybody or shame anybody for having to work, for having to jump in for kids, you know, meetings. And like, that's what we've been doing for the last month. It's like, hey, you need some time off. I got you. I'll jump in, or my husband will jump in, or my sister's husband will jump in. My kids will jump in. But I think that's part of generations too. And like how moms raised us too, to be that way.
Yeah.
So since you guys are kind of so similar, right? You have a lot of similarities. What's one thing that you're like, oh, we're so different?
I think maybe boundaries. Like I'm more boundaried and my mom is more of like giving of herself and just
So whatever you want to throw at me, I
yeah,
can
she'll
handle
take
it,
on
let's do
everything.
it, you know?
You know, and also like she does all these creative things and I always feel like she never charges enough for her what her things are worth.
Well, let's talk about our paintings. Tell us about your paintings, because I have your paintings here at the salon. Yes. So you can come and purchase your artwork here at the salon, here at Revive. And they're on the steps. And what I liked about them, what caught my eye was that you're painting women, their face. And all shapes, all colors, and you're just celebrating women in your artwork. So tell me about that. How did that come about?
I do love that. I do love painting women. It's very, I see myself in this painting that I'm doing. I'm like, or I develop her personality as I'm painting her. I think women are just beautiful.
Yeah.
And so that's why I like painting women. I develop, also a relationship, but flowers and cactus are just as pretty. Everything, I'll do a little bit of everything.
How did you learn how to paint?
I just did it, Nicole.
Oh,
I just took some paints and bought the paper and I just did it. Like I said, you never know what you can do until you try.
Right.
You have a lot of people say, "Oh, I can't do that." Yes, you can. Yeah. I crochet. I never thought I would crochet. Never.
You need a whole different mindset for that, because I saw a video and I was like, what?
Yeah, I thought that's just weird. I'll never do that.
That's for old ladies.
I'm crocheting.
But I really want to learn because I want to make my own blanket.
There's young guys crocheting too. I see it on
parties.
Instagram.
And what I love about it, it's an affordable craft, and I can just make as much as I want, and I give it away.
Yeah.
I don't sell my...
That's what I'm talking about. She gives everything away.
I give it away. Why not?
And you're like, Mom, you got to charge for that.
I'm going to eat well tonight. Why not?
Yeah.
That's true.
And that comes from a place of, just
generosity.
Yeah.
I'm a huge believer in that. Like, whatever you give out into the world, you're going to get back.
I am too.
So I'm always giving extra stuff all the time. I extend myself sometimes too much.
This one over here says, Mom, you're not going to make any money doing it like that. And I'm like, I'm okay. But no. And I'm like, you stay in your business, in your lane.
Oh, let's talk about that.
Business.
Let's talk about that.
Yes,
let's talk about the business
You
part.
run your business
Yeah.
the way you want to run it. And
You
I'll
definitely,
do
guys,
mine.
run your businesses totally different.
Yes.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about your differences and how you run your business and how she runs business.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think maybe sometimes I do give away a lot too. When I'm looking at my bottom line, I'm like, whoa, okay, pull it back a little bit. But, and it's because sometimes I just love what I do. And so
She's
when I
a good
see
business
something,
person. She is. She wants to do it right, if there's such a thing. But she really takes it serious.
I do. I have a lot of ideas, and I mean, I've invested a lot in mentorship too. And that's something that I've learned through, my mentors and the education that I've done is this is not a hobby, because it's a very expensive hobby if it is. And I learned that early on in my business, that I just had an expensive hobby because I wasn't making any money. I have so much overhead. And so I had to become really business minded and take a better look at the financials and realize, this is the reason I'm doing this. If I'm not here to make money, then I can go find another hobby, because this is costs a lot of money.
Your purpose becomes,
I'm lucky that,
or your passion becomes your purpose. That's what I want.
yes, I'm lucky that I was able to marry the two.
Yeah.
To my passion, my things that I love to do into something that I can make money on. Sometimes it doesn't work because, we had a bakery before too. We used to have a bakery, and I used to love baking, but then it became so much pressure. I haven't baked since we stopped baking. I don't bake anymore because it just became so stressful.
I had a bakery from home, and that was a good business. That was good. But the thing about it was that you're not, you're working weekends, every weekend.
Oh, yeah.
That's when the parties happen. Yeah. So you're working from Wednesday on to Sunday. And my husband's retired, and he's like, well, when are we going to travel? When are we going to go here? When are we going to, So I said, yeah, he's right. He's right. Plus doing it from home, and it got really busy. I didn't
took
have
over the house.
help. Melissa left me, and she went on and got a real job.
Well, that's where I learned, if you're not making money, because my mom, like I said, never charges enough for the things that she does, and she wants to give it away. And that's nice and all. but you burn yourself out,
right, right.
and you just gotta treat it like a business.
Yeah, and I think what happens is people take advantage of you too. If they
Yes.
see that you're a giver
Yes.
and a doer, they'll take advantage of that. That's what I used to tell my mom all the time, because she used to sew for people, and then she would just like give them what she sewed. I said, why are you doing that? People are just going to keep coming and asking you for, and it's your work.
Yes.
You're putting your time into it, and
Yes.
you learn. You bought your sewing machine. I used to go over that with her all the time, but she was such a giver like that too. She's a very generous person too, but
But I haven't dealt with anyone that's taken advantage of
Good.
me, and I think if I know when to cut it,
Yeah,
and let's
absolutely.
just
Yeah.
be friends.
Yeah. And then one thing we talked about at the very beginning when we met, Melissa, was I think you and I are very intuitive and energy people. Like when we smell people very quickly. I think
Very
we
quickly.
sense that. I think that was a conversation we had, because I felt like I told her that day. I feel like I sense when people's energy is just, it's off-putting. I immediately move away.
Yes.
And I'm really good about setting those boundaries too, about like,
Yeah.
if I feel like they're going to be nasty, if they're going to be mean, if they're not going to be givers, or they're
Don't
just going to
need
be
it.
takers, I immediately retrocede and be like,
Yeah.
nothing to do. And I think that's something that kind of comes with time and maybe using and tapping
Definitely.
into your intuition.
Definitely. And trusting yourself.
Yeah.
You have to trust yourself and realize that the reason
Right
you're
thing. Yes.
the reason you're having those feelings is because it's, you got to pay attention to that. It's right. I would
Yeah.
say, like, I'm never mad at people for who they are and the way they are. I don't know what happened in their life that
Right.
made them that way,
Exactly.
but I just place them in my life accordingly.
Yes. Yes.
Like if I see somebody is not somebody I want to bring close to me, you can still be in my life, but at a distance.
Yeah.
We can be friends, acquaintances. I'll always respect you. I'll always be cordial.
Yeah.
Class, always, but I'm going to place you in my life
Yeah.
where you belong.
And that's wisdom. Yeah. That's growth with age too, right? This episode of the Señora Vibes podcast is brought to you by our official sponsor, Revive in the Heights Salon and Spa Studios, a one-stop beauty destination right in the heart of Houston.
That's right. Revive is more than just a salon. It's a whole vibe. It's a community of women-owned businesses offering everything from custom facials, lashes to hair, massage therapy, sauna, red light therapy, and more, all under one roof.
Whether you're overdue for some self-care or you're ready for a full transformation, Revive in the Heights is where beauty, wellness, and empowerment come together.
Visit us at revive_salon spa on Instagram to book your next service or check out our lineup of talented professionals.
Come for the glow up and stay for the sisterhood.
This episode is also sponsored by Hair and Beauty by Nikki L, where custom color, luxury extensions, and healthy hair care come together with purpose and passion.
Nikki is a master colorist, extension specialist, and the founder of Hair and Beauty by Nikki L. She's all about helping women feel confident, beautiful, and seen from the inside out.
Whether you're looking for a bold color transformation, seamless hair extensions, or a solution for hair thinning, Nikki has 17 plus years of experience and a heart for empowering every woman who sits in her chair.
Ready to fall in love with your hair again? Follow at Hair and Beauty by Nikki L and book your appointment today. Your crown deserves expert hair, and Nikki's the girl who does hair with heart. That's something I always tell the kids, younger kids. I'm like, y'all need to be really careful who you give all of your energy to and all of your time to.
Oh, my kids have learned about my intuition.
Yeah,
they always will
good.
bring friends around and they're like, what did you think?
Yes, yeah.
Is this someone to keep or someone to keep at a distance?
Well, then I know I need to bring on my potentials.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. We will Yeah.
You need to pass the
Come here,
Melissa test
let me
first.
read you. Let me read your energy real quick.
I'm that person for my husband because whenever he has business meetings, he always brings me along because he always wants me to see the other people on the other side.
But you're
And I'm really good at tapping. I think it's because I was brought up in a certain neighborhood where we had to be on alert all the time, and I knew people very instantly, very quickly. So that's where I come in whenever he needs to have like a business meeting. I always come to, or investment meetings, whatever development meetings. I always come to all of them because he always wants to hear what I have to say about people, and it's always 100%. Like he will be like, "What did you think of this guy?" I'm like, "I don't think you should be doing business with him. I don't feel good about it." And then months later, he finds out something, or he'll do some Google searches. He's like, "Man, this guy is right. He's got all these lawsuits against him." I said, I felt it. I just felt it.
Yeah.
It's just trusting being a woman and being,
Women in general are pretty intuitive.
Right. Yeah. I love that.
Okay, so let's talk about social media. So since you're from a different era, I know that social media is kind of crazy for you. So what about entrepreneurship do people not see on social media? Like, what are the behind the scenes that people don't see?
I think a lot of people now are being more transparent with their struggles in entrepreneurship. But there was something another creator, like I'm a creator.
You are a creator.
There was something that a creator on TikTok had brought up, is that a lot of people don't talk about the middle, where you're just you're not killing it, you're not struggling, but you're just kind of stagnant. And that's frustrating too, because we're always, definitely entrepreneurs and people with the entrepreneurial mind are always striving for the next thing. Exactly. And when you're in that middle, it's hard to enjoy it. We always enjoy the highs. We don't so much enjoy the lows. In that middle, we need to kind of take time to step back and realize how far we've come, because that middle sometimes was a high at one point.
Yeah.
And then because we're always striving for that next thing, that next benchmark, we don't stop to, and I'm very guilty of this because I always feel like I'm doing horrible in my business. And then I have to stop and think, I've come so far.
Yeah.
I have come so far, and I have, I get the imposter syndrome when I'm mentoring or I'm, teaching classes. I'm like, what do I have to show? You have a lot. And I have to stop and think, I didn't know all this when I started. I have a lot of knowledge to impart for somebody who's just getting started. I always think, well, it's not, rocket science, but you don't know what you don't know. And so when somebody's at the beginning, you tell them certain things. Yes, it could make all the difference.
Keeping your knowledge and your growth, you're sharing it. That's super important. Super important. That's great.
Yeah. So I think you were asking about social media. I think that's something that people don't share on social media, is that you need to stop and realize how far you've come and enjoy the middle too.
Awesome. Yeah. So how's social media for you?
Good reminder.
It's ridiculous.
Oh gosh.
I know how to do Facebook and I know how to do Instagram, barely. But that's about the extent of my social media. But I'm not yet, because I'm gonna gear it all up and then bam, just put it out there. One day I have a day and then I'm just gonna flood the internet.
I mean, you have 9 grandchildren who can help you.
Yes, but they're always busy.
That's okay.
Not true. They're
But they're
always busy
with stuff that they want to do.
Yes. I told one of my granddaughters, I said, I bought you a ticket to a concert next Friday. She goes, what time is it? And when will it be over? And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I said,
her friend's graduating.
I said, never mind. I'll take Grandpa. And she goes, no, I'll go. I said, I don't want to rush.
Yeah.
No, I'll go. Like, that's right, you'll go. That's right. But the internet, one thing I did learn early on with Facebook is the negativity. Even if it's something I don't like that post, and you see people making negative comments, I'd rather just say nothing. Yeah. And that sometimes is hard because you see something that you just want to tell them, oh, but that's not true, or you
Yeah.
shouldn't put that, or why are you doing? No, just shut up. You know, just don't say anything. If you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all.
Oh yeah.
Or keep it scrolling. Just keep it scrolling.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't forget about your dumb comment.
Yes, and I don't keep those in my mind.
Yeah.
You know, I
You
I learned early on
Oh yeah.
to write all that stuff off.
Yeah, before that let them book
came
came out. Yeah. I've always been of the let them mindset.
mentality.
Yeah.
Good for
I'm
you.
like, that does not affect me.
Exactly.
What people think of me doesn't affect me. What people are doing in their own lives doesn't affect me. Let them. Whether I agree with it or not, it's not my business.
I think
don't care.
We're too easily offended by things that really have no impact in our life, and so many
no
people are
time
like,
for it.
Or they have to pipe in like, no, that's not necessarily how it is. Maybe that's not for you, but for somebody
Right.
it was. Oh
Yes.
my goodness. God forbid it wasn't for everybody.
And
but you have to think about
another
everyone. Like,
thing
no,
I don't
Think
like
about
is
everybody.
people putting these posts about, oh, don't do this and don't do that, because I'm like, they're talking to somebody
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
through
Through the social.
social media. You need to call that person up, because we don't want to see all that. You know,
Well, and everybody
Call
becomes
those
so
internet
self-righteous. Self-righteous. You know?
It is. Oh, I
Everyone-
can't
I'm like-
stand that.
You're not perfect either.
No,
like
you're
let
not.
them. Like,
It is. Yeah, we talked about that. Let them. Just let them.
yeah.
All right. So what's one thing that you guys can agree on when it comes to business?
I don't know.
agree.
No questions asked.
Well, like I said, I'm not afraid of the corporate world. So I did what I did. I had to do it. I crafted. I made a little bit of money. I was able to stay home with my kids. Then I went on to the corporate world. I think the corporate world can be good. It's good. It's a good thing. But Melissa has always had the mindset that I cannot work for anybody.
Have you ever worked for anybody?
I have. I don't like it.
And
I don't recommend it.
I'm thinking, yes, you can, you know.
I can.
Just think, you go into work, you put your time in, and you go home. Here, on your own,
You never clock out.
You never clock out.
Never clock out.
You're always working,
I would
always
still-
working.
For me, it's more about freedom than it is a paycheck. I mean, we all need a paycheck, right? But if I can create that for myself, I think entrepreneurs are amazing. You created something out of nothing.
And at the same
And you made
time,
money
I'm
with it,
very
you know? You made
proud
money
of
with it,
her
yeah.
for what she's done. At the same time, I'm very proud of her for what she's done.
How do you
And
think
she's
you
got
guys-
that, go attitude. I can do it attitude. And she's going to do it. And that's just awesome.
And how do you think your combined legacy is setting you guys up for your daughters? Like, how is that rubbing off on them? What do you see?
It's kind of hard to tell with your kids what they're taking from you, what they're really paying attention to, what's going in one ear and out the other. You think everything's going in one ear and out the other, because that's what she thought about me too.
Yeah.
But
Do you see it though? Do you see it in your granddaughters?
I
Or
do.
grandchildren?
I do. Like my granddaughter, she'll tell me she's got a job, she's going to school, and she's got a little side hustle. And I'm like, why are you working yourself to death? I'm going to be like you, Grandma. I'm going to do everything.
Yeah.
I'm like, what have I done to these kids? But yeah, I see that in my granddaughter.
And is that the legacy you want to leave them?
I don't think so.
No?
I don't think so. I mean, they may find a niche in their own little business and it may take off, but it is a lot of work. It is a lot of work. I see how hard Melissa works.
But I think that can-do attitude is like, it with tenacity and grit.
It's
It
so
takes you so
beneficial.
far in life.
It's so beneficial.
Because a lot of these
Yes,
kids
it
nowadays
is.
lack that.
It's good because if you had to stay home and not go into the corporate world, then yes, you know how to survive.
Well,
Survival skill.
I definitely think that is something really ingrained in our culture, that you make things happen.
Yeah.
No matter what. Like I was telling my husband about everybody is complaining about grocery prices and all these things. I'm like, you know what? All you got to do is this and this. Like, you can make a meal for $1 per person if you want to. You know, like
we can go back to eating beans and rice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's
beans and rice. That's a complete protein. You know
nothing
that?
like resourceful women.
That's right.
Resourceful women that grew up with resourceful mothers. Like we can pull so much out of nothing because our mothers taught us how to be resourceful.
Exactly.
And
and
we didn't complain. Like I never
That's the legacy.
complained. That was
Resourcefulness.
The legacy. That's
That's
the legacy
the
that my
legacy.
mom left me, is my resourcefulness and my practicality.
Yes.
Because I never ever see things as like good or bad. It's always like, well, what can I do to figure it out, or what can I do to make it happen, or make it work?
And
It is not like a whining mentality. My mom was anything but a whiner.
I think right now, the generation now, and it's sad, it's terrible, they have this throw it away attitude and buy a new one.
Very wasteful.
They're cheap. I'll just throw this away.
Yeah. It's the slow fashion mentality. It's the Temu. It's the Shine. It's all that make all
The
that
fast
clothes
fashion,
super fast so they get used to that. And I mean, I don't know. For me, it was really about being my mom. That was her thing. Her legacy was being very resourceful and very pragmatic, like super pragmatic. And so that's how I was. That's how I've always been. And I hope that my kids take that too, and not be wasteful and not,
There's a saying, I think Marie Forleo talks about it a lot. Everything's figure outable.
Figure outable, yeah.
Everything is
And
figure outable. Like,
yeah.
and that's definitely something I got from my mom.
The wasteful attitude, they won't understand until they're not able to replace everything so quick. Oh, I should have been saving. I should have been more careful. I should have, made things last. I should have taken care of that. If we could teach our children that, make the best out of what you
because
have.
they never had scarcity.
I don't think it's not in them. It's just like when you have your own family and you're trying to hold all of it together and do everything. That's when you get that learn and you learn from what your mom did or your grandmother did. That's when it comes into play. Like, and since so many people are not having kids and not getting married, or they're waiting a long time, that's what we're seeing, that they're still in that it's all about them attitude. But I think once they get there, like, I actually have a lot of admiration for this newer generation because they have a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
They have a lot of boundaries. And I think when they get to that point of their life where they have to be resourceful, they'll get there. I have full confidence in that.
That's very optimistic. I love that. Yeah. I always say that I think Gen X moms are raising the best kids because I think we're raising them to talk about things. We're raising them to tell us what's going on. Like if they're feeling down or they're feeling sad, I'm going to be like super intentional about listening. And they're really good about telling us what's going on. Like I love that.
Yeah, a little bit too good.
They're also, I know it's TMI sometimes.
I do not want to know
all of that. Yeah. But I think it's really kudos to those moms that are raising those kids to be more in tune with themselves, their feelings, their, the things that are bothering them.
Right.
And I think that's because we are raising them in that way to be more open, to see the world in different variations and not just black and white. I don't know. I mean, I feel like that's kudos to us.
Yeah. We're definitely a lot more open-minded,
For sure. Yeah.
So let's also talk about what you've got going on. You have a big project
tell us
coming
what's
on.
happening.
So you are, and we're not going to reveal numbers, but you are in a season of your life where you could be a great grandmother soon, right? So you're transitioning into doing something different, but now you have this big project. Where did that come from and what is it?
Well, like I said, I never sit still.
Okay.
So, at night when I can't sleep, I get all these ideas.
Okay.
I wanted to get into fashion.
Okay.
And I thought, you see all these pop-up markets. There's all kinds of booths. And I said, what about a fashion show? I think that would be awesome. So that's what I'm working on, a fashion show. And what my plan in the beginning was to have vendors come in and sell their items that my models model. But then I thought, well, hell, what's in it for me? I can do a booth. I can become a vendor as well. So I started painting clothes.
Painting clothes.
I started painting clothes. I'm painting jeans. I'm painting denim shirts. I'm painting denim dresses. And I'm just,
How cool.
I thought,
Love that.
this is different. This is not out there very much that I've seen other than Pinterest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so that's what I'm doing. And my show will be in October.
Of this year.
Yes, this
Okay.
October
so-
26th.
October
Mark your
26th.
calendars.
Okay.
Do we know where it's going to
Save
be?
the date.
Yes.
It's going to be downtown.
Downtown.
The building doesn't have a name itself, but it's 2203 Preston.
Okay.
It's a venue.
Is it
It's a
Peer
venue.
Space or Peer, not
Peer
Share
Space.
Space, Peer
Peer
Space.
Space.
Yeah.
Okay.
Through Peer Space. And
Okay.
so I've got this venue. and-
Where the Hotties Gala was, the award
there?
ceremony was in
Okay,
that
yeah,
venue.
that's where we
Right
were.
there.
That's a really cool spot.
And who's funding it? Are you funding it
I
yourself?
I am. I'm doing it all myself.
Wow.
But
amazing.
but looking for sponsors because
Look at Melissa, the
Yes.
businesswoman.
I'm like,
Oh my God, she's like,
stop it.
but
I keep telling her,
but
stop
Mom,
spending money.
I bought this and I bought this. She goes, stop spending money. You need sponsors. I'm like, huh? Why? I'm having fun.
Yeah.
But yes, this is the businesswoman. She's very good at the business part, and she keeps me in check. And she
That's
says,
awesome.
"Mom,
You always need to have
So,
that person
yes.
on your team.
yes,
Because fashion shows you cannot do by yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, okay, she can do anything
She's
by
like,
herself.
watch me.
I have a team.
You need a team.
I have a team.
Good.
I have for setup, breakdown, and I have for every little thing and check in.
Good,
And
good,
yes,
good.
so I've got my team.
Yeah.
And if you need models,
She did ask me to be a model.
Yes.
And I forgot to send her my sizes. I was like, I'm not going to send them because I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to lose
All
weight.
right,
By
all
October, I'm gonna
right.
be
See,
down
you've got a
2 more
goal.
sizes.
Yes.
You've got a goal, something to shoot for. Okay.
fantastic. We need to make sure that we write it down in the description so that we put
Okay.
it out there for
Yes.
people to know.
And what
Your
you need,
event,
you know.
And
right?
the
link.
theme
Looking for
of the
something.
fashion show is Breakfast at Tiffany's. And
Okay.
Fashion at Sunset. And I am listed on Instagram and Gmail by Fashionista G2. And what the G2 is, it's G squared.
Okay.
My granddaughter's name is Gina.
You know, I just figured that out
Yeah.
the other day when I
They're
was taking
both
pictures of the
Regina.
painting. I was like, why is it G2? Wait a minute. Oh, because of Gina.
Yeah.
My
Yes.
daughter is named Gina.
And she discovered, like Melissa discovered she could sculpt fondant and didn't know. Gina helped me paint little tote bags. It's another thing I'm painting. And she did an awesome job. I said, Gina, you can
She definitely
paint.
takes after my mom. She's very creative
I said,
and
you
About the
can
artsy.
legacies of our moms. That's a legacy
Yes,
too.
so she started helping me paint, and I said, it's going to be G squared. G2.
I love that. That is
Yeah.
such a cool concept, isn't it?
Yes, but now that you're explaining it, it makes complete sense.
So it's Fashionista G2 at Instagram.
Okay, well, we're going to have to share that.
Okay. What's
love it.
coming up for you?
And what do you
Melissa?
got going
Any
on?
promos?
So let me just
Yes.
like hype Melissa up. You know, Melissa's been with me.
Melissa's awesome.
I think I got here a year, and then I met Melissa, and I was like, you gotta come. Like, she was like hesitant about coming from Pasadena, right?
Yeah.
She came, and she had a small little studio, and she was doing so great. Now she has 3 like apprentices. Well,
Yes.
I don't know if you call them apprentices anymore.
No, they've
They're
graduated
employees.
from
They've graduated.
apprenticeship. I have a
They're-
program where I mentor estheticians, and so they went through my program, and they're no longer apprentices. They are working estheticians, very well trained, very capable. They just need more practice, and so we're trying to get people in the door, more faces for them to
Well, I
practice
can
on.
account for all of them. I've seen
They
all
do a
3
great
of them.
job.
They do a great job. They're amazing young ladies. They're very smart.
Can I say I fell asleep?
Oh, yeah.
Having one facial, she started massaging my scalp, and I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah.
You have a membership, Melissa. I just saw that.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about that membership?
Yes. So I just launched, I've always had a membership, but I had, I didn't really push it much. And it was just really for the clients that wanted to be with me because, being that I've built this business, I have my clients that are very loyal. Everybody wants to come to the expert and nobody wants to go to the apprentice.
Yeah.
But, I had to, restructure this to get my estheticians busy because they are great and they have been trained by me. Yeah. So they do things the way that I do them. And so I restructured my membership and I have tiers. So it ranges from $89 a month to $199 a month. $199 is our med spa membership where you can get the advanced treatments for corrective skincare. And then we have 3 facial tiers. And so we have Radiance on the Glow where you can come in and get just people that don't have time. They just want quick results. They're not looking for relaxation or anything like that. It's a targeted treatment. Okay. And then we have our middle one that is a more involved facial, but still, quick to the point, but just a little more. And then we have our top tier facial membership that encompasses all of it. Right. Not the med spa services, but all the relaxation, the results, all that in a facial. Okay. Yeah. So I'm really excited about that.
I'm super proud of all of your girls. I love them all. They're so amazing. They're awesome. Yeah. If I had more time, I'd probably be in her chair all the time. Yeah. And she doesn't just do facials. She does laser hair removal.
Yes. And we are a medically directed corrective skincare studio. So I do laser hair removal,
you do
IPL.
All the parts? Even the lady parts?
Everything. Okay. Everything. Yeah. Wow. That's
Head
actually my most popular.
Head to toe, yeah.
Asking for a friend.
Yeah. And IPL, microneedling, chemical peels, medical grade chemical peels.
And let's talk about the new thing that you have coming.
Yes, I'm so excited. So everybody's, getting into AI and using it a lot in their businesses. And I have a new AI powered skin analysis machine. So you put your face, the computer reads your skin. It tells you, it tells you like how deep your pigmentation goes. Like what it also makes recommendations on what kind of treatments you can do to correct anything that it's seeing. It tells you the moisture levels in your skin. It tells you the oil levels where you have, the larger pores. It tells you so many different things, and you get a full report in your email.
Know what to target. Then you know what
so will this service?
We can track it.
What is this service going to cost us? Like what is the price point on that service?
So right now, if you book any service, facial or microneedling or chemical peel in May, you get a free skin analysis.
Sign me up, please.
Yes, you will be getting it done ASAP. And the good thing is that we can track this throughout your treatments. So you can see the improvements and get real life
I was just going to ask, why
do
we want our skin analysis for?
Yeah, so you can make sure that you're getting, you're spending.
That we're targeting the right spot.
Yeah, you're spending good money on your skincare and you want to see the results. Yeah, so this tracks and shows the improvement that's happening in your skin. And we have Mother's Day specials as well. So we've got 20% off if you book a mother-daughter treatment, 20% off. Plus you get a little take-home enzyme and mask custom to your skin that you can do at home. We have Mother's Day gift certificate by $200 for $150. We've got all kinds of stuff going on in May.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be including all of that information in the description so that people can know right away and tap into where they can sign up for all of these great things for May. Yeah, because moms definitely, we need that. I mean, we are running around
more than anybody.
Everything for everybody else. We need to do
good
stuff for
massage,
ourselves
and
too.
I'm in heaven.
Absolutely.
I always tell if your skin isn't good, no makeup's going to help. Like if your skin isn't healthy,
you can't cover it up.
No makeup will help. But you can tell when people's skin isn't taken care of.
Yes.
And at our age, us señoras, 40 plus, we need to be taking care of our skin.
Yeah. Like I said, when you look good, you feel good.
Yes.
And that's not just a vanity thing. It's just.
It's internal.
It's self-love.
It's self-love.
I know when I'm having a bad hair day, I'm not in a good mood, It's just,
when
my hair is nice, then I'm good.
I live by my blowouts.
Thing, Yes.
I live by my blowouts. Thank you so much for being here, ladies.
Thank you for having us.
So much. Thank you for inviting me. I learned a lot. I really did. Yeah. And I love to see this dynamic. It's really beautiful.
We're pretty good together.
Yeah. You really are a good duo.
Yeah.
You both could be having a podcast of your own and be like running.
Who knows?
You never know what's on the horizon.
Creative
I'm always
ladies.
looking for something.
She's always looking for something to do.
No, I figured it would probably probably a little thing percolating in her mind. I can tell she was getting very comfortable with her microphone. Like she's ready for her own podcast. I love it.
I love it too.
Great, Nikki.
They are the best.
Thank you for sure.
Thank you guys for being a part of this. I am truly honored to have you both here at Revive. I love it. And I am so excited to see what the rest of this year is going to bring everybody.
It's going to be so good. I mean, I want to hype you up too, because you have done so many incredible things here at Revive. You're everybody's biggest cheerleader. You're always hyping us up. You're such a girl's girl, and just, I love you.
Thank you for noticing.
So happy to be here.
Yes.
I do. I appreciate you a
Melissa
lot.
always tells me, I love Nikki. I love Nikki. She's always promoting me, and she's always doing this.
Well,
and
it's
she's
not just
always doing
that.
that.
It's just she has a good heart. You know,
Yes.
you have a good
We were
heart.
talking about guests. You wanted her
And
girls from Revive.
as you have become owner of Revive, you have done amazing things. You don't stop either. You're always going.
stop.
She
You
doesn't
guys.
stop.
Always a positive attitude and endless energy. It seems like.
And I don't do drugs.
And she's everywhere.
I
I like poor Nikki. I said she's not getting a break. She's at this event, that event.
literally have to get sick in order to get a break. And I actually was down for a couple of days because I was losing my voice. I'm like, what's happening? That's God's way of saying, girl, sit down.
Yeah. Relax.
Well, I remember one time you had a little surgery and you had an event going on that day, and I'm like, shouldn't you be resting?
Nope.
No. I gotta go.
I was here. I was here.
The hustle continues.
Always.
Never
Doesn't
stops.
end. Doesn't stop. Thank you so much, ladies. Appreciate
Yeah,
y'all.
thank you for having us.
All right. Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah, happy Mother's Day to you too.
This episode is brought to you by Hair and Beauty by Nikki L. Custom color, extensions, and healthy hair with heart.
Nikki's been slaying hair for 17 years, and she's all about helping women feel confident, bold, and beautiful.
Follow at Hair and Beauty by Nikki L and book your transformation today. Your hair will thank you.